Red Queen. By Jolie Jaquinta. Copyright 2013. Arc 1. Chapter 1. Throne Room. Queen Jesca sat on the ancient throne of Romitu, the eldest of cities and capital of the Second Empire, such as it was. Her eyes, too old for a face so young, looked out over her assembled generals and fumed.
"Is there no one who will relieve me of this burden?"
she asked again. They were all silent. The sword of state lay heavily across her arms. Out of fashion for the last few centuries of the First Empire, it languished in a museum until acquired by her predecessor. He had felt it a powerful and potent symbol. He used it to communicate the focus of the return of rule of law he promised as he ended the interregnum and reinstated the empire.
My adoptive father spoke strongly of the benefits of limited terms of rule. The necessity of smooth handover of government.
She tried.
If he were alive today, he would expect any one of you to be ready for this duty.
She looked long and hard at one general in particular, bearing the insignia of the Ninth Army. But the general remained stiffly at parade attention, avoiding her eyes. The restored audience room was perched on the eastern side of the high city and caught the cooling breeze of the sea, barely visible on the horizon. A strand of her red hair floated down across her face. With irritation she launched herself to her feet, balancing the ceremonial sword somewhat indecorously over one shoulder and pushed her hair back with her other hand. Her armor glittered magical light as she paced up and down, its freedom of motion betraying its extreme workmanship, its soundless operation betraying its magical enhancement.
"I appeal to your patriotism,"
she said, giving another long look at the general in the insignia of the 22nd Army.
"Would you let the empire fall into another interregnum after only 2 rulers?"
The coarse features of his orcish face didn't move as he, too, stared fixedly ahead.
"Fie on you all!"
Jesca swore in exasperation.
"Half the successions of the First Empire were from various generals fighting each other for the throne. And here, I can't even give it away."
"Surely, Majestas, you aren't urging your generals to civil war?"
The voice was deep and smooth in a manner that many misinterpreted as fawning. The dwarf stood apart from the generals but not quite against the wall with the servants and staff. His clothes were well tailored, but unadorned. Jesca snorted in annoyance.
"The First Empire was littered with tyrants and despots ripe for overthrowing and opportunistic commanders looking to grab their own glory. You are a just and fair ruler. Your generals are loyal, and your subjects love you."
5 years,
said Jesca unheeding.
General Sinai recommended 5-year reigns, with succession to competent non-blood relations.
She walked up and down glaring at them.
Strongly. He recommended it very strongly.
She caught the eye of one of the few generals who wasn't staring ahead. She wore the insignia of the 31st Army, one of the reinstated Amazon armies. When she saw Jesca watching, a wash of emotions passed over her face. Desire, fear, hunger and insecurity. Jesca looked away and the general dropped her eyes.
"It is not like it's hard,"
said the queen shrugging. The sword shifted to an even more casual angle.
"The empire nearly runs itself."
She continued on in a lower voice.
"Now that the slaughter is over."
"Majestas,"
began the deep voice again.
"Is that a volunteer?"
she asked, interrupting him, but not looking at him.
"I'll do it,"
she said, defiantly addressing the generals.
"I'll give the spy master the throne."
There was some uncomfortable shifting.
"I would not accept,"
said the dwarf resolutely. She looked at him in annoyance as the shifting settled.
"I could not hope to do as good a job as you have done, given the circumstances."
She paced up and down, not looking at anyone.
"As you say, Majestas, the empire mostly runs itself. If we have no candidates and no discontent with your rule, is it so bad to continue?"
She sighed heavily but did not stop pacing.
"Take some time. Walk amongst your subjects. All is not as dark as it may seem."
"Is there no one in this room fit to rule?"
she asked, stopping before the throne. The light of the sinking sun had crept across the floor and left her a silhouette against the sky. The silence stretched on.
Then may the gods that are left have pity on us,